Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and review the new characters I've pulled. I was going to review Lelouch while his banner was running, but then I finished upgrading him, tested it out on some bosses, and was very demoralized by the fact that he could not hit the bosses. It was not included in any known issues. His normal attack just goes above the boss hitbox for a lot of the Uber bosses where I normally test units. And if not for that, he'd be a great unit. Like, he has a very useful buff, 25k caps, no restrictions on dual wield, so great for dual wielders. Great for anyone, but even better for dual wielders. The stock bonus and damage bonus are like, they're going to help you get those caps. 50% defense break, 50% attack break. And then, Honey Elixir unit. But if you can't Goddess Kiss, you can't Honey Elixir. And yeah, that really limits where you can use him. Other than that, he's a great unit all around. He actually has some really good general support. Much like his normal version, he's very bulky to begin with. He gets even more bulky when he gets revived. He applies the light resist debuff. That's actually one of the other better things he does. I got him while Shalter was still my best DPS. She technically still is my best DPS, but we'll get into that. So having an extra 20% unique buff, it's not unique, it's a normal pure light debuff. So you can get that, you can put the circle on, and then you can put universal imperil on, and you're getting 60 to 75 imperil. Or more with the arc skill, once per fight. Very nice. If not for the auto attack thing, he'd be a main on my general team. The fact that I can't rely on him to actually hit targets makes him much less valuable to me. Now, Estella has a unique version of Kenai that has special gauge fill on it. As far as I'm aware, it's the only version that has special gauge fill, and I pulled her just for that reason, because I want to be able to fill Guardian Angel Lukiel. Oh, I don't know if that's her name. That's what I always called her. Fill her special during her special. So basically, I get 80% of her special to 90% of her special back. As soon as it ends, I immediately cast this once or twice, and then go back into her special. And, I like the idea of being able to just freeze a boss fight indefinitely, or almost indefinitely, and cheese it that way, especially when she gets her upgrades later on. Other than that, she's a good unit in general. The only thing that, my only complaint with her is Giga Week at this point in the game is kind of just bad. Like, we expect more at this point. We've got... I'm pretty sure we have a EX week somewhere for 50% on a single target, and then we have high Giga week now, so, high Giga week, and she would have been an amazing unit. She's just a very good unit with normal Giga week. As you can see, she's very bulky, just out of the box. I have more bulk on for using her in the multiplayer Ignis fight. I also have less bulk because I'm stacking 100% fire res. Her damage is the only downside. It's odd because she does have like a ton of killers for free, which usually you expect that to kind of translate into damage, but her scaling is awful. Now, if you have her paid in fights, I have, I think, 10k defense, so an extra 1k attack would help. I mean, that's like a 10% total attack increase for me. So, her paid would probably help out with that a lot. Not having her paid You know, it's not the end of the world. It's still, I'm getting 50% strength of mine. It doesn't matter that it's off element. Like, the strength bonus is worth more than my nearest fire spear, which is the event one. I think it's the only fire spear I have, actually. Yeah. Like, it's nice that it has the 2k cap, but its stats are pretty low. It doesn't have any other bonus. I will probably use that when I'm done with the Ignis fight. It's just that the Ignis fight being resistant, I need my Goddess Kiss to proc more than a heavily resisted weak weapon trigger. Other than that, she's pretty well, very SC efficient. Like, I'm able to do like a really wonky immortal build without much punishment. And I'm not even losing out on much in terms of potential cap increases or anything. She's very good on Goddess Kiss, like I'm able to refill as fast as I'm dumping my SP or MP. Been playing a lot of Tree of Savior, so SP instead of MP. Great unit, has a kind of cool gimmick. Otherwise, oh yeah, also she gives 20k caps after 40 seconds indefinitely for the whole fight. There's other units that can already do that better, so. And that does not stack with the Susano UR, so. It's good, like it's useful. It's not the best option for that. Still very good. Technically, you can stack that with Tails, and then you can have one of the best options for a total cap increase, but stacking it with Lelouch is even better. Now, Joshua is my real letdown with this banner. He's a great unit. Like, he is a great unit that would be a great unit if they didn't strip him of half of his damage and slap it on his page. So, from what I've seen, he has a 1.5% base chance to get a Fatal Strike. He gets 1.5% for 10 seconds at the start of the fight. The only time you will have that if it's a boss fight, unless the boss is very generous and spawns minions for you, which not a lot of bosses do, and when they do, they're usually immortal. But if they do that, then cool, you're gonna get the other 1.5%. His paid has another 1.5%. So, minimum, it's giving you 33% more total damage, and no other weapon in the game can replace it. It's unlikely that we're going to see another Dark Sword that replaces it anytime soon, and even if we did, it would only knock it down from a minimum of 33% to a minimum of 25%. Less damage for not having his paid. And there's not a lot of paids in the game that are just a flat 25% improvement in total damage on a DPS. Like, that's a very strong improvement for the paid. Usually, and that's not even counting the cap increase, by the way. That's just counting the final strike damage. It also gives you 5k cap, which obviously is, I think it gives you more than 5k. Check to make sure I'm not giving misinformation here. But, if I recall correctly, no, it doesn't get 5k? Alright, so it gives you 10% strength, which is, you know, somewhat important, not really. That's replaceable. I thought it gave 5k. Well, even then, still 25% minimum if we get another weapon later on that is a dark dagger, because you need to use 2 dark weapons. They both have to be dark swords if you want to be able to ignore dark resist, which is one of his best traits. Minimum 25% long term, 33% short term, and realistically 50% short term, and 33% long term damage loss for not having his paid. That's too much of a loss for me. Like, that's enough that I would recommend not pulling him unless you're trying to get his paid. And even then, I wouldn't recommend trying to get it paid when the paid is that overpowered because it's kind of playing into bad monetization. I'm fine with something like this, where it is still the best in slot. There is literally no other weapon. So this one's 10k. So yeah, 10k cap, 30% more damage, and 10% defense to strength on a character that's built for high defense, naturally. This is a very good weapon. It is replaceable. You're going to lose a moderate amount, 8% total damage from the cap alone, but it is replaceable with other things. You're not permanently getting half of a character. On Joshua, you're permanently getting half of a character. Again, 33% if you want to split hairs on the 10-second buff. That increases the floor. With him as he is, despite the fact that I like the character, I like the way he plays, I like his aesthetic, I like the bulk of his kit, the fact that he doesn't have that built into his kit, the 1%, the fact that that's not built into his kit basically knocks him down behind Shao tier. If he had that in his kit naturally, he would be Shao tier level, easily. And having a DPS unit from how many months ago now? Quite a long time ago. A year ago. Out DPSing a brand new DPS that is just a paper DPS. She's actually somewhat bulky too. Don't forget that. She's somewhat of a tank that does really good damage, and he is a pure paper DPS that requires his paid to outperform older DPS. Older tanky DPS. And I mean, again, you can get lucky without the paid. He can beat her in DPS if you just get really lucky. If you want to have a consistent improvement, you need the paid. But when you get lucky, the DPS potential for him is insane. Gotten very unlucky this time. I haven't seen a single Fatal Strike. So, the quest version of him, you're getting 840k Fatal Strikes. When you actually set him up for a proper build, like mine, I get 1.16 million Fatal Strikes. And when you don't get unlucky, I'll do another run just to see if that was really bad luck or if apparently that's the average. Because I swear, when I see other people using him with the paid, I see several Fatal Strikes per skill. And I'm not seeing any in here. Or maybe it's set up to be intentionally downplayed in here. I don't know. I saw 3 of them in those 2 dashes. But yeah, when you have the paid, when you have everything else, when you have the build set up, they proc often enough that they dramatically shift his total DPS. I don't know what's going on in there. I was seeing way more procs outside of the training area. Bad luck, maybe. It's just because I was talking about how good his paid is that now it's underperforming when I try to show it. If you've done the test yourself, you've seen you get quite a bit more Fatal Strikes, significantly more Fatal Strikes than if you own him and you're using him. It's going to be a rare day when you see a Fatal Strike on his skills in actual combat without the paid. And without the first 10-second bonus. That's with the first 10-second bonus and paid. Again, Rant aside, bad monetization aside, he's a good character. He has a lot of strengths. The 50 bonus, like, the fact that he has 50 bonus Dark Resist base is kind of insane. Means it's very easy for him to go ahead and cap that, even though he needs 2 weapons. You put on a Dark Resistant Sigil, even without the extra bonus, and then just 2 10%, and then the Arc, and you're already over 100. You can easily get him up to like 130. That's very nice. There most likely will be a forbidden artifact that is Dark type, and the boss will most likely only use Dark type attacks if they're going to maintain the theme. His damage is pretty good. Again, this perk in here that requires you to use 2 Dark Swords. Again, just to add more value to his... Add more value to his paid. It's very nice. It's not a chance, it's just cut the resistance by 50%. He's a good unit. It's just the fact that that paid basically stripped out part of his kit that should have been part of his kit. If not from that, he would be a unit that I would recommend you pull in general. Like, if you just care about optimal spending as a free-to-play, he would be a unit that you'd want to grab. He'd be the Shao tier of this year. As it is, I fully expect him to be replaced within the next couple banners. We're going to get a unit that does not require a paid and has similar DPS sustainable. But I'll leave it there. Very disappointed with him. That's, again, very disappointed with the way he was monetized. Other than that, it's a good event. Again, they really should go back and fix his normal attacks so that it can hit some of the uber bosses that it can't hit. Estella, 10 out of 10. Great unit. Only downside is perfectly manageable and kind of expected from a support. With that, later.